and welcome. My name is Mark. I'm from a store called EcoMove down in Bristol. Today we're going to be looking at some of 2025's most exciting electric bikes that also happen to fold. So if you're in the market for a folding electric bike, we're going to start to take a look at a few exceptional brands today. Brands like the Ampere, brands like the MiRiDER, the Eovolt, and Contender from Addo. So join me now, let's take a look at some of the key features of the bikes, what you would be typically using them for. We'll look at features such as charge time, hill climb, just anything you might need to help you along and figure out what the best electric folding bike is for you this 2025. If you have any questions about folding electric bikes and you want to know more, or we don't cover anything that you're looking for, just ask the questions down in the comments. We're very active. I'll try and answer as many questions as I can. I'm sure the community has their own feedbacks. Obviously, we'll give our unbiased opinion on everything, but there's a lot of nuanced answers to a lot of simple questions. So just ask the questions. We'll do our best to do a bit of research and try and help you just discover the correct bike for your commute. So let's get into it. The first bike we're going to start with is the Ampere Alter. What makes this bike unique? What makes this bike unique is the price point versus the quality. Now, you've probably noticed the frame is one of these standard frames that you see on a lot of folding bikes. However, the secret sauce here is that Ampere, being a UK business, has a full warranty as well as a full part list for the bike. So they've not only taken a frame that's easily accessible, but they've paired it with a really good battery and components that you know are going to last. Not something you normally find on bikes that share the same frame. So let's then look at some of the special features. So the bike is a very straightforward proposition. She folds down really well, but she's got a really nice upright sitting position. A rack is integrated into the bike with the battery in the rack. She comes with integrated lights, a horn, as well as lights that work. So she's sort of fully kitted. Having gears on a folding bike like this also helps use it more of a traditional bike, as well as dealing with hills and such. The next thing we need to look at is portability. So the bike itself, she's got a bit of heft to it. The alley frame comes in at around about the 20 kg mark, 22 kg. So a little bit heavier than most bikes, but it's in there with acceptable. Then there's the ride comfort and the performance. So the ride comfort on this is really nice with your upright seated position. It performs really well up hills and sort of inclines because of the gearing. The motor that they've got in here is fairly powerful, so she will perform very well up hills in a really comfortable seated position. In terms of performance, she might not be as performance heavy as a lot of the bikes we'll look at today, but she's no slouch in that regard. So then let's look at battery life and sort of the range it can do. So the Alter comes in two battery sizes. So, taking the smaller battery, you're looking at about 20 miles average use. Bigger battery, you're looking at about 28 miles on average use. The charge time is reasonable at about 3.5 to 4.5 hours. The performance of the battery is one of the key points of this particular bike at its price point, considering they're using quality lithium-ion cells in this bike, not something you see on bikes at this price point. The next big question is hill climbing on a budget. It is our budget-friendly folding electric bike. At its price point, you're getting everything you need from your folding bike. You are sort of foregoing some of the more luxurious elements or some of the nicer elements to have on a folding bike. But what Ampere is doing here is they're making a foldable bike that's for everyone that is on a budget. So it's for that reason that we can highly recommend this bike. The performance is great. The build quality is good. At the price point, it all kind of clicks. The downsides to that is you are sort of on budget componentry, like the forks are not branded. The battery is obviously external. Whilst the components are quality componentry like Shimano gearing, it's not top of the line. You also have mechanical brakes on a bike that is quite heavy for mechanical brakes, but they work perfectly well. So you're just getting an all-round decent bike for the price point. If you're on a budget and you're looking for a folding bike, this is the one we'd recommend for you. Next, let's take a look at one of our all-time popular bikes, the MiRiDER One. Not to be confused with the MiRiDER GB3, which we'll discuss as the next bike. GB3 being the more premium, the MiRiDER One being MiRiDER's first flagship foldable bike. What makes it unique is that it is one of the UK's most premium 16-inch folding bikes. A title that's sort of in competition with Brompton being their 60. Now, If you know the Bromptons, the original Brompton revolutionized folding bikes. However, an unpopular opinion here, but I feel like the electric Bromptons are more like kit bikes with a motor on the front. And the price point doesn't reflect what you're sort of getting on the Brompton. Now, I know that's a very controversial statement and you're gonna hate me in the comments for it, but if you are looking for an alternative to the Brompton that has a rear motor, an integrated battery, the MiRiDER One is probably what you're looking for. Some of the special features that come with the MiRiDER is the fact that it is developed in the UK. You'll see that there's a sticker on top that shows who worked on the bike in the MiRiDER factory. We've actually gone up and seen the bikes in the MiRiDER factory, and we can attest to the fact that they are a UK bike through and through. In terms of portability, the bike is very light. It comes in at about 16 kgs. It's great for folding down quickly, putting in the back of your boot or camper van. Camping community being the biggest target audience for this bike. They absolutely love it. In terms of ride comfort, it is a very comfortable bike. Made even more comfortable by the fact that it has rear suspension, which you don't often see on a bike this size. The bike itself runs off very high pressure thin tires, so it's very smooth on the road. The front does have a bit of vibration to it because of the smaller wheel, but the back is very comfortable. Maybe even more comfortable again by an upgraded seat that you might see as an accessory for the MiRiDER. In terms of battery life and range, well, the battery life on the MiRiDER is really good because they use such high quality cells. It is a bit of a premium bike, so the battery is very premium. Even though it is considered a smaller e-bike battery, the motor is tuned to the battery, so this results in fantastic range. The charge time on this battery is about 4 hours, but you can also get a charger that plugs into the cigarette lighter of your car. That does obviously increase the length of time it takes to charge the battery. However, again, for the camping community, great little accessory to include. In terms of hill climbing and power, well, this MiRiDER has a motor that I would consider a bit of black magic, as it was. We tried to configure a bike similar shape frame, and we tried a Bafang 350 watt motor, and the MiRiDER outperformed this bike. The motor, I don't quite understand it. For its small physical size, it outputs a lot of performance. I mean, on paper, the Newton meters tell a story, but the bike on the road, it tells a different story. And it's very tricky to put this into words, but I would recommend test riding one of these bikes if you're interested in them, just to kind of see what's going on with that motor. I've not really experienced anything like it at that physical size. So highly recommend this. Our customers tackle hills, no problem. So who is this bike for? Well, as previously stated, it is very much for the camping community, being a big target audience for the bike, with a range of accessories to help specifically on that. But more than that, it's short journey commuters. You know, you need a bike to get from your home to the bus or the train, and from the train to work. Your commutes are, 3 miles, 5 miles, 5 miles, 3 miles, these sort of things. This bike is perfect for that. It's not a long commuter, it's not a trekking bike, but it is light, it's efficient, and it does short commutes exceptionally well. It also folds up really small, so it's easy to transport and will work as a bicycle in a pinch. You park your camper van and explore the town. Great bike. So that leads us into the GB3. So a lot of what I've said here applies to the GB3, obviously, but let's just go over that again and talk about the MiRiDER GB3 as our third bike in the series. So let's talk about the MiRiDER GB3. So again, 16-inch wheels, incredibly efficient motor with great hill climbing ability, in-frame battery, it's got the rear suspension, it's got a telescopic post. This one is fitted with the MiRiDER comfort seat, but it comes with the Selle Royale saddle. At the top, we will see that it's got 3 gears, it's got a bright display, and more than anything, what you are paying for here is the Carbon Gates belt system. Now, I did mention it's got a 3-gear shifter here. That is the second biggest upgrade for the GB3 from the MiRiDER One, as it has the gearing here. So covering everything we've just spoken about from the previous MiRiDER, I believe it's a fantastic bike because it is made within the UK. The folks that work on the bike are based in the UK, all the parts are in the UK, they've got a fantastic dealer network. The build quality is fantastic, and everything that the MiRiDER One, the GB3 does better. Now, the only downside to it really is there's a price hike of about £1,000. Now, that is quite a jump, and you need to ask yourself, is the bike worth it? Because both the MiRiDER One and the GB3 are great bikes. The GB3 with the gears obviously handles hills a bit better. Having a carbon gates belt drive means no oil, no lower maintenance, but is it worth it to you? So is the additional £1,000 worth it for your commute? If you find that the MiRiDER One will do everything that you need it to do, save the money, get the MiRiDER One. It's a fantastic bike. However, if you think you'll be doing a lot more hills, you want confidence to use it more like a bicycle for longer journeys, and you feel like gears are a necessity, the MiRiDER GB3 is a fantastic piece of kit. Again, it's hard to put in words what it feels like to ride this bike on the road, as there is nothing else quite like it. You would need to test ride to really get a feel for it. But I can just say that we know of many of our customers that use this bike as their daily commute bike, and they love it. It comes with stuff like fitted racks and pannier bags, and you can kit the bike out as well as the MiRiDER One to suit any situation. But yeah, take nothing away from it. It can be used like a commuter bike. Would I recommend it over a 20-inch bike that we sort of are going to see and have seen? It's tricky. That is up to the rider. Personally, if it was my daily rider, I would want a 20-inch foldable bike. But if you're looking for a 16-inch lightweight foldable e-bike, you may have found it right here. So any questions about these, again, ask in the comments. We've got years of experience with MiRiDER, fantastic brand, and cannot recommend these guys enough. Please like and subscribe. Next up, let's look at two bikes by Eovolt, the Eovolt Afternoon and the Afternoon Pro. These two bikes here are the Eovolt Afternoon. It's in the vintage style and the classic style. So the only difference between these two bikes really is the styling. So the vintage has, like the name describes, a very vintage style. You got your chrome accents, everything, so the brown seating. It's got that old school cool look about it. Whereas the Afternoon typically has more of a modern look. So it's got the matte paint, black finishes, very, very cool, very modern. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Eovolt Afternoon. And note, we'll be talking about the Afternoon Pro after this. But the Eovolt Afternoon is sort of their staple 20-inch folding e-bike. The battery itself is found in the stem. The finishes on this bike are exceptional. It is a premium bike. There's no getting around it. Everything from their hydraulic brakes to their latches, their chainring, their pedal systems, their derailleurs, their 7 gears, everything has been considered. They finished the bike off with Schwalbe tires. They're the big pickup tires, nice fat, a lot of grip, really stable on the road. But that all leads to who the bike is for, because you can quite see that these are not the lightest folding bikes you'll find. In fact, they're one of our heavier bikes. However, they are still easily managed. So they do fold up really small. They can be put in the back of your car. They can be transported easily in a camper van. So you do lose a little bit of sort of weight on this. So they are quite hefty to lift and move. But what you get in return for that weight gain is the fact that these bikes can almost be used as a daily rider for everyday commuting. Obviously, you're going to see a bit more comfort on a 24, 26-inch bike, sure. But the 20s work fantastically in this regard with the wider tire, the 7 gears, the upright seating position. This bike can do the distance. The motor itself has great pulling capacity, has great torque, is just generally good up hills. I mean, like I said, if you're running a 27-inch with a more powerful motor, it's going to climb the hill better, but this motor is no slouch. If you are tackling steep hills, she'll get you up the hill. If I was personally doing a steep hill every single day on the way to work and perhaps another one back, I don't know how that would work, but if I was doing that, I might reconsider that. But then again, I'd be reconsidering any bike under the 26-inch wheel size anyways. So in terms of having an everyday commuter, the Eovolt Afternoon delivers on all fronts. Now, the gearing on this bike is really what sets it apart from the Afternoon Pro, as well as the motor, but we'll get into the Pro a little bit later. The takeaway from this is that you are buying a really premium e-bike by a French company that just delivers on what they do. Their old bikes were a bit iffy, but they've evolved as a company. There's no one else quite like Eovolt. If you like the styling, If you test ride a bike and you feel like it rides really well, then this is the bike for you. The racks on the back can fit regular pannier bags. She's getting very close to hybrid status. And with that comes, you know, a whole lot of other features. You don't need to buy a second bike. She fits really well in all circumstances. She might not be the best in every situation, but she will perform in all situations. That is generally the Afternoon in a nutshell. So let's move on a little bit and talk about the Afternoon Pro, which is a really cool piece of kit. And let's talk about why that is quickly. So here we are, the Eovolt Afternoon Pro, the love of my life. What makes this bike so unique? And in fact, why is this bike my pick for 2025's Folding Bike of the Year? Well, let's get into the differences between the Afternoon that we saw before. So, the first thing you'll notice is we've got belt drive here, which is fan-flippin-tastic. But what is a belt drive without gears? Well, who cares? Because this bike has gears. But Mark, where is the derailleur, you may be asking? Well, it doesn't have one. But what it does have is a geared Bafang motor. It's got 2 gears built into the motor, which is Bafang's new answer to how do we make kick-ass motors even more kick-ass. So what you are looking at here is a belt drive system with gears that are in the motor. The next thing you'll notice about the bike that's an upgrade is the center stand here, making the bike very easy to kick up and stand up. The foldability of the bike on the stand is fantastic, so you can fold it whilst it's on its kickstand and then wheel it off into the sunset. The latches, every final detail about the bike is just fantastic and has a beautiful finish to it. Batteries in the stem again, which is interesting because this time, unlike the Afternoon that has the power cable at the bottom, which can be quite awkward, it has a power cable in the back. This has a magnetic connection here, which is easily removed. So they've really thought about every single detail that made the Afternoon great and made it even better. There is very little not to love about the bike, except for one thing, the price. There's no getting around it. This will be one of the most expensive folding e-bikes on the market. It's not exorbitant and you're getting a lot for what you're paying for it, but price is definitely a consideration on this bike. If price is not an issue and you look at the bike and you say, this is the bike for me, you're gonna absolutely love this bike. On the road, she feels fantastic. Flats, she cruises along at a speed. She hits a hill and she's up the hill without even breaking a sweat. The geared motor is a very interesting feeling ride and I highly recommend trying this bike out. Like the Eovolt Afternoon, the Pro is not just average in everything, she's exceptional in some regards. So yeah, if this is the bike you're leaning towards, you are not going to be disappointed. And this is my suggestion for 2025's most epic folding electric bike. Eovolt Afternoon Pro. So just quickly, one last bike that's just come in the nick of time and we looked at it and we thought we have to include it in this video. Let's call it the bonus bike, is the Addo Carbon. Why did we include this last minute? Well, quite simply because it's the best folding carbon frame e-bike we've ever seen. Now, Addo is a bit of a weird brand, mixed bag of nuts on a lot of their range, but this particular bike, if you are looking for the lightest folding e-bike, this is the one you should be looking at. We've seen quite a few carbon fiber folding bikes and to be fair, they haven't been that great. I've just taken this for a long test ride and I absolutely love it. Super lightweight at about 12 kgs is really the top selling point on this bike. It's got GPS baked into the Addo app, which is great. Again, like the Eovolt, they've copied that and put the battery in the stem. A few things I disliked about it was the kickstand is on the pedal and the mudguards come separately, but those are very small niggly bits to the bike. The range that we tested it on, we're getting about 20 miles out of it, which is pretty good for a battery of this size. So far the bike has really been punchy. Bafang motor on the back, single gear. So extremely steep hills will probably be a bit of a problem, but so as a bit of a commuter lightweight bike, this would be fantastic. I mean, if you are in the market for a carbon fiber folding bike and weight is your primary concern, this is probably the bike for you. It comes in 2 colors. The black is beautiful, but they've got a beautiful coffee beige color for the bike. Hydraulic brakes, color TFT screen, folding handlebars, carbon gates, belt drive. All that said and done, really well priced and a bike that we thought we would squeeze into this list. I think it's just a fantastic entry and we made a concession for it. So definitely check this one out. If weight is your primary concern and you want something carbon fiber, There we go. Well, that is our roundup of folding electric bikes that I think you should be looking at for 2025. Like and subscribe. Any questions you have, ask them in the comments. Each of these bikes has a unique offering for a unique ride, for a unique rider. So it's all about finding the right bike for you. They're just unique in their offering. You know, the right tool for the right job is always important. But yeah, finding the right bike for you is the most important part of the journey. I hope you found this instructive. Have a lovely ride and we'll catch you again later. Peace.